The implications of this are frankly nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American, because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. What we saw occur here, as the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president commander-in-chief of the United States.
Oh, darlings, buckle up, because the political tea is scalding hot today, and it's spilling all over the pristine legacy of none other than Barack Obama. You know, the guy who once had us all swooning with his silky speeches and that effortless charm that could sell ice to penguins? Well, hold on to your pearls, because Tulsi Gabbard just stormed onto live TV like a tropical storm in Hawaii, whipping up winds that threatened to blow the roof off Obama's carefully constructed mythos. And let me tell you, the former president's reaction? Pure eruption, like a volcano that's been dormant for years suddenly deciding it's showtime. We're talking red-faced rants, frantic denials, and a whole lot of deflection that screams guilty as charged without ever admitting a thing. But let's not jump ahead. After all, in the world of Washington whispers, the juiciest bits always simmer before they boil over. Picture this. It's a crisp evening on some primetime news slot, the kind where anchors wear suits sharper than kitchen knives and the graphics flash like they're auditioning for a blockbuster. Tulsi Gabbard, that enigmatic former congresswoman with the aloha vibe and a stare that could melt steel, sits poised under the studio lights. She's not here to play nice. Oh no, she's armed with a stack of freshly declassified documents thicker than a celebrity memoir. These aren't your grandma's grocery lists. These are bombshells, honey, alleging a web of intrigue spun right from the Oval Office in the waning days of Obama's reign. We're talking about a supposed plot to kneecap the incoming Trump administration before it even laced up its boots. And Tulsi? She's dishing it out with the precision of a celebrity chef filleting a fish, all while keeping that serene smile that says, "I'm just stating facts, folks." Now, before we dive into the delicious details, let's rewind a tad to set the scene. Obama, post-presidency, has been living that best life, Netflix deals, best-selling books, and those keynote speeches that rake in more cash than a Vegas slot machine on a lucky streak. He's the elder statesman, the wise sage dispensing advice from his Martha's Vineyard perch, all while the world nods along like he's got the secrets to eternal youth. But Tulsi Gabbard? She's not buying the hype. On this fateful broadcast, she starts slow, building the tension like a thriller novelist who knows how to hook you from page one. "Folks," she says, leaning into the mic with that signature. "Gravitas, these documents aren't just paper, they're proof. Proof of a concerted effort, directed from the top, to undermine the will of the American people." The camera pans to the host, who's trying to keep a straight face, but clearly sensing the ratings goldmine unfolding. And oh, the shade she throws. Tulsi doesn't mince words. She paints Obama not as the beacon of hope we all remember from those "yes, we can" rallies, but as the puppet master pulling strings in the shadows.
Director Gabbard, give me your response to what we heard from former President Obama there. He's saying that none of this makes any sense, that this is a distraction. What do you say to that?
It's the art of deflection coming from former President Obama, as well as his friends who are still in Congress today, and Senator Warner and Congressman Jim Himes, really all basically saying that exact same statement, which doesn't actually address the issue that was revealed in great detail in the over 100 documents that we released last week.
According to her, just weeks before handing over the keys to the White House, Obama allegedly greenlit a scheme involving his inner circle, think Clapper, Brennan, Rice, the whole gang, to cook up intelligence reports that smelled fishier than a week-old sushi platter. These weren't innocent memos. They were designed, she claims, to cast doubt on Trump's victory, sowing chaos like confetti at a parade gone wrong.
Because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. What we saw occur here, as the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president, commander-in-chief of the United States. And so they decided that they would do everything possible to try to undermine his ability to do what voters tasked.
It's not about parties, Tulsi insists, her voice steady as a heartbeat. It's about the soul of our democracy. Cue the dramatic music swell, because if this were a soap opera, we'd be cutting to commercial right about now. But wait, the real fun begins when the clips roll in old footage of Obama dismissing similar accusations with that trademark cool demeanor, waving them off like pesky flies at a barbecue. None of this makes sense, he says in one snippet, flashing that $1 million smile. It's a distraction. Tulsi's response? Priceless. She arches an eyebrow, leans back, and unleashes a torrent of sarcasm wrapped in facts. Deflection at its finest, she quips. From the man who promised transparency but delivered more smoke and mirrors than a Vegas magic show.
That was an inconvenient truth. The President's Daily Brief article was pulled. It has never been published until we released it about a week and a half ago. Instead, this new intelligence assessment was ordered by President Obama that contradicted directly every other intelligence assessment that had been published prior to the election, as well as assessments that had been pushed forward after the election.
The audience at home is glued, scrolling Twitter or X, whatever they're calling it these days, for live reactions, because this isn't just politics, it's primetime drama, complete with heroes, villains, and enough plot twists to make your head spin. As the segment heats up, Tulsi delves deeper, peeling back layers of Obama's legacy like an onion that makes everyone cry, except her, of course. She starts with the foreign policy fiascos. Oh boy. Remember that Nobel Peace Prize he snagged early on, back when the world thought he was the antidote to endless wars?
Tom, what is the process of Nobel Prize? If he's able to do that, who nominates? Because most of the Nobel winners are on the left.
Nobel Prizes, you can go look this up, are given through an arcane nomination process, and they go into a back room and they decide who they're going to give it to. And the Nobel Peace Prize is basically a political football. You look around the world at people that have really caused peace, and you have Obama made a couple speeches as soon as he was inaugurated in '09. Oh my goodness, we give it to for fostering an environment of peace.
Tulsi drags it out into the harsh light, comparing it to awarding a Dieter a medal before they've skipped a single dessert. He inherited messes, sure, she concedes with a nod, but then he escalated them. Drones buzzing over 7 countries strikes. That hit weddings more often than targets, and all while preaching peace from podiums polished to perfection.
That's a very disrespectful attack on the American people who deserve the truth. They deserve to have faith and trust in the integrity of our democratic republic, which has been undermined by President Obama through his direction of this manufactured fake intelligence document, knowing that it was filled with lies.
Like when she got into office, you realize like you're not really in control of everything because there's another person who's in control of each individual.
The exaggeration in her tone is palpable, hinting at the absurdity without ever breaking character. Obama's camp, watching from afar, must be fuming, because this isn't a gentle critique, it's a full-on roast, served with a side of receipts. Shifting gears, Tulsi turns her gaze to the home front, where Obama's domestic dazzle starts to dull under scrutiny. Obamacare, that crown jewel of his administration, gets skewered as a half-baked pie, tasty in theory, but leaving crumbs for the insurance moguls while everyday folks foot the bill. Hope and change, she mocks gently, her eyes twinkling with mischief. More like hope you can afford the premiums and change your doctor every year.
You believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this.
The host chuckles nervously, trying to steer the conversation, but Tulsi's on a roll, highlighting how Wall Street walked away from the 2008 crash with bailouts bigger than lottery jackpots, while Main Street got lectures on fiscal responsibility. He saved the economy, she says, air quoting with flair, for the bankers, maybe. But for the factory workers watching jobs vanish overseas? Not so much. The sarcasm drips like honey from a comb as Tulsi paints Obama as the ultimate political illusionist, a man who could charm birds from trees, but left the forest barren. Transparency? Please, she scoffs. This is the guy who spied on journalists faster than you can say freedom of the press. Equality? Sure, if you're a Silicon Valley billionaire cozying up for photo ops. She recounts tales of tech summits where CEOs mingled like royalty, laying the groundwork for the digital empires that now rule our lives.
Doesn't actually address the issue that was revealed in great detail in the over 100 documents that we released last week and the documents that we will be releasing later this week that point to the undeniable fact. The intelligence community had one assessment, that Russia did not have the intent or capability to try to impact the outcome of the U.S. election leading up to Election Day. The same assessment was made after Donald Trump was elected by the American people as president in 2016, defeating Hillary Clinton, and it wasn't until after that pulled President's Daily Brief document that the Principals Committee was called in the National Security Council, and President Obama then directed Obama's DNI James Clapper to lead the effort to create this new intelligence community assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow attempted to influence the outcome of the U.S.
Innovation, they called it. Monopoly building, more like. The exaggeration amps up the gossip factor, making it feel like we're eavesdropping on a scandalous dinner party where no one's safe from the whispers. But here's where it gets really juicy. Tulsi circles back to those documents, timing her reveals like a master storyteller saving the best for last. She describes a timeline that's absolutely remarkable, her words laced with irony. Pre-election intelligence assessments? All pointing one way, no Russian meddling with intent to swing votes. Post-election? Suddenly, a new narrative emerges, allegedly ordered from the top.
The timeline is absolutely remarkable. And then this article from the New York Times, the day that President Obama decided that this would be the narrative, they even run it with a photo of him. It's shameless. December 9th, stating that their sources are from the administration. And it's already the pre-baked narrative that Russia helped Trump, even though the intelligence community hadn't done their assessment yet.
That's right. Again, very
How's that possible, Director?
They got the message about what the narrative was supposed to be. They then reached out to their friends in the mainstream media to start to plant those seeds so that when this assessment came out, it would not be seen as something shocking or as contradictory.
December 9th, she notes, holding up a printout like Exhibit A in a courtroom drama. The New York Times runs a story with admin sources. Photo of Obama front and center. Shameless? You bet. The implication hangs heavy. A pre-baked plot, media plants, and a cabinet scrambling to align with the boss's vision. Obama's eruption, when it comes via a hastily issued statement from his office, dismisses it all as baseless distractions, but Tulsi's already planted the seeds of doubt, watering them with wit. As the interview progresses, the host probes deeper, asking if this implicates Obama in anything, well, criminal. Tulsi plays it coy, like a poker pro with a royal flush. I'm not the lawyer here, she demurs, but we've referred everything to the DOJ. Let the facts speak. The sarcasm peaks as she describes the treasonous conspiracy in over-the-top terms, hinting at a cabal of powerful figures unwilling to accept the voters' choice. They weren't happy Trump won, she says, eyes wide for effect. So they whipped up a fairy tale assessment to undermine him. Years of chaos followed. Talk about a long con. The audience reaction is electric. Social media explodes with memes of Obama as a shadowy puppet master, while defenders rally with cries of fake news. But Tulsi's calm dismantling makes it hard to look away. Expanding on the hypocrisy, Tulsi weaves in Obama's post-White House glow-up, that enviable retirement of book tours and celebrity hobnobbing. Wise elder statesman, she questions with a smirk. More like brand ambassador for the elite. Six-figure speeches to the same corporations he bailed out, selfless service, right? The gossip news flare shines here, exaggerating the contrast between his lofty ideals and lucrative reality. He preached unity, but left the country polarized, angrier than a hornet's nest. Democrats lost seats nationwide under his watch, over 1,000. State houses flipped, governors switched sides. Transformational leader? Try creator. She pauses for dramatic effect, letting the words sink in like gossip at a high society brunch. The economy gets another lap in Tulsi's takedown circuit. He talked a big game about the middle class, she says, voice dripping with mock sympathy, but who really thrived. The donor class